Welcome. I'm going to walk you guys through a short practice for yoga for runners. So a way to improve your mobility, to improve your capacity for breathing, and to work on some activation of some really important muscles for when you are running. So let's have you start laying on your back. We'll start with some breathing. You'll bend your knees, place your feet flat on the floor, let your hands rest on your belly. When you inhale, let your belly rise up into your hands. And when you exhale, let your belly fall away from your hands. This is a nice relaxed breath called diaphragmatic breathing. As you inhale, the belly rises. As you exhale, the belly falls. Try to keep your shoulders, your neck, your head relaxed down into the floor. Just comfortable breathing. Inhale, let your belly fill and rise up into your hands. Exhale, let your belly fall away from your hands. We'll come back to this breath at the end, but for now, once we start moving and doing the poses, I want you to keep your core muscles nice and strong, which will make that your breath go a little bit wider and broader up into your rib cage. So keep your core muscles nice and strong. Place your hands right inside the fronts of your pelvic bones, right here in the front. You're going to engage these muscles. Feel like almost like it's a belt, and you're cinching the belt together, and you're drawing the belt down towards the floor to keep your core muscles nice and strong. Hold for about 5 seconds, and then relax. And again, hold, engage your core muscles, and then relax. You can stay right here and just bracing and toning your core and then relaxing. Or you can start to move, lift one foot, bring it back down, lift the other foot. Just as long as you can maintain your back flat on the floor the whole time, you can maintain your core nice and strong, and you can feel your breath nice, long, and steady. So now with your core muscles nice and strong, you won't feel your belly expand as you're breathing, but you might feel more of your rib cage broaden right to left. You can lift one foot up, other foot up, down, down, up, down, down. But the whole time your core muscles are nice and strong. So right where your hands are, you should feel those muscles hard and engaged. Up, down, down. The next stage would be keep both feet up, tap one heel down, bring it back. You can alternate. Again, keep your back all the way flat. Feel that strength of your core. It's going to be important for all the poses that we do. Nice, strong, engaged core right all the way on the outside where your hands are, right inside those bones of the front of the pelvis. Place both feet down on the floor, feet about hip distance apart, arms by your sides. Do that good strong core again. Squeeze your butt muscles by pushing your heels down into the floor, and then lift your hips up. You're just doing a little bridge. It's not a big one, just enough to stretch out the front of the hips, enough to start to engage your butt muscles. So if you might want to feel with your hands, you can just touch and see if, make sure those muscles at the back of the hips, so your glute muscles are nice and strong. Push through your heels. Stretch out the front of your thighs, front of the hips. Keep the core strong, but find that nice, long, expanded breath. And then come back down. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Take your arms out to a T. If you don't have room, you can bend your elbows so you kind of look like a cactus, and then you're going to drop your knees to the right side. You're getting external rotation of your right hip, internal rotation of your left hip. You'll feel a little stretch in your low back. Gently squeeze your left butt and feel like you're lengthening your left knee towards away from your head. You can hook your right ankle on top of your left knee as long as that doesn't produce any pain in your knees or your hips. But please don't push your knee down towards the floor. Think more like you're lengthening your knee away from your head. Gently squeeze your left butt. You should feel a stretch through the front of the left hip, the outer left thigh area. And then come on back up. Same thing on the other side. Drop your knees to the right, or to the left, Squeeze your right butt and feel like your right knee lengthens away from your head. You'll feel a little arch in your low back, little twist and rotation there, and you'll feel an opening through the front of the right hip, the right side of the hip. You can hook that ankle. Again, you shouldn't feel any pain in your knee or your hip when you do this. Don't push your knee down towards the floor. Instead, lengthen it away from your head as you're gently squeezing your butt, and you'll feel that stretch through that front and outside of the right hip. Nice strong core, and find that nice long breathing. In and out through your nose. And then you can release that side. Roll to your side. Come on up to hands and knees. We're going to do cat-cow. So you're going to place your hands right underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. And you're just going to start to move your spine. You're going to move into an extended or an arched position. And you'll look up towards the front of the mat. And then you'll move into a rounded or a flexed position in your spine by tucking your butt under, lifting your belly up, and rounding your back like an angry cat. Look in towards your belly. Move like that a few times. As you inhale, you'll move into the more arched position or extended position in your spine. And then as you exhale, you'll move into the more rounded position. Round your low back, your mid back, your upper back. Look in at your belly. You can squeeze your core and your butt muscles here. And then inhale, arch again. Try to move with your breath. As you inhale, move into the arch or extended position. As you exhale, move into the more flexed or rounded position in your spine. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your core. Go one more in each direction. Inhale, arch. And then exhale, round. Trying to get the whole spine to move. We're going to come into a lunge pose next. So you're going to take your blocks, if you have some. You're going to step your right foot forward, and you're going to lift your back knee off the floor. So you look like you're in a lunge position like so. I might angle a little bit for you. So you're in this lunge position. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Squeeze your left butt. Make it nice and strong. Belly muscles are toning and pulling in. You'll bring your right hand to your hip. Open your chest to the right. Open your right hand straight up to the sky. Just try to move your torso and not your pelvis. So step your left foot forward. You'll be in a high lunge position. Squeeze your legs towards each other. Make sure that that right butt is nice and toned. Bring your left hand to your hip. Open your chest up towards the left. Reach your left arm straight up to the sky. Resist the front of the right pelvis from pulling forward, so keep it lifted as you twist open. Nice strong core. Find your breath, nice and easy. In and out through your nose. And then release your left hand down to the floor. If you have a blanket or a towel, let's have you guys roll it up nice and tight to make this little roll that looks like this, and you'll put it down on the floor. You might want to stand near a wall just to help you with your balance. You're going to step your toes up on this roll. Spread your toes wide, trying to push through your big and little toe mounds equally. Try not to have your butt stick out. You won't feel the stretch if your butt's sticking out like this. So tuck your pelvis under, almost like you're lengthening your butt muscles down towards your feet, and you're pushing your pelvis forward slightly towards the wall. You should feel a stretch through the back of your calf muscles here. Keep lengthening down, keep your chest up. You don't have to use the wall, but it's there in case you need it to balance. The goal is to feel that stretch through the back of the calf muscles. Push evenly through your big and little toe mounds into the towel or into the blanket. Belly muscles are still strong and engaged. Breath is in and out through your nose. Step your right foot forward. You'll keep your left foot on the towel roll. Try to push that left heel down into the floor. Again, lift up through your chest, lengthen your butt muscles down to the floor to feel that stretch through the left calf. You can bend your right knee slightly, hoping that your left heel is on the ground. It might not be all the way on the ground, and that's okay, but try to push that left heel towards the ground. Switch sides so that the right foot is on the blanket. left foot's over. Feel the difference. So this side's much tighter for me. Notice if you have one side that's tighter than the other. Again, lengthen your pelvis down, lengthen your butt muscles down towards your heel. You don't want your butt sticking out. Bend through the front knee, and then you'll feel a big stretch through your right calf. Chest up, belly strong. Nice slow breathing. Trying to let that calf muscle release a little bit and open. And then you can step off. Next, we're going to do downward facing dog. So you're going to take your hands on the wall, spread your fingertips. Your hands are about as wide as your shoulders. Walk your feet away from the wall. Start with a little bend in your knees and start to push your hips away from the wall. So push your hands into the wall and then sit your hips away from the wall. Keep that little bend in your knees first to stretch out your soleus muscle, which is another calf muscle. Keep your back completely flat. Belly muscles are strong. Pull your low ribs in, but you don't want to look like you have a round in your back. Push the wall away. Then you can move towards straightening your legs as long as your back stays completely flat. Push into your hands so that you can feel like you're moving your hips away from the wall more. Some of you might have your heels lifted. They might not touch the floor, and that's okay. Just know that that's the direction you're heading towards, moving your heels towards the floor. Your head is right in line with your ears. Breathing in and out through your nose. And then walk your feet forward. Take your roll back again, and you're going to step your toes up on the roll like so. So the toes are up. Heels are down. You're going to bring your hands to the wall to start. You'll start to walk your hands down the wall. Try not to just lean into your heels. Try not to just lean into your toes, but you're somewhere in the middle of the two. As you walk your hands down the wall, you want to maintain a nice flat back here so that you're getting the stretch through the back of your legs, your calves and your hamstrings. Some of you might stay here at the wall. Some of you might be here at the wall. Some of you might walk all the way down. You might bring your hands to blocks on the floor. Some of you might get your hands all the way down. Just as long as you can maintain more of a neutral spine position. Once your hands are towards the floor on the blocks, you're going to get a little rounding in your back, and that's okay. I just don't want you to look like a cat like this. I'd rather see you have your hands on your wall so that your spine is more neutral and you're getting the stretch through the back of your legs rather than your back. We want the stretch back here, not here. So you'll choose the best option for you to feel that stretch that allows you to get that nice long breathing, but you're not overly stressed where you can't slow your breath down. Good strong core. Spread your toes. And then to come up, walk your hands back up the wall. All right, take your blanket off to the side. You're going to come down to hands and knees. So you're welcome to do the same downward facing dog at the wall, or you can do it on the floor now. So you're going to spread your fingers, make your hands really big and wide. Hands are about as wide as your shoulders are. Curl your toes under. Belly muscles are nice and strong. Just lift your knees off the floor first, and then start to lift your hips up towards the sky, but keep your knees bent. As you keep your knees bent, you're going to push through your hands like you could push your chest towards your thighs. Keep your knees bent and your back is completely flat. You're trying to push your heels towards the floor. They might not get there, but that's the direction you're heading. I'll move this out of the way so you can see. Then you could move towards straightening your legs, but if you straighten your legs and then your back starts to look like an angry cat like this, bend your knees again. It's more important to have a more neutral spine, and then eventually you can go straighter in your legs, or you can do the version that I showed you with your hands on the wall. Belly's strong. You're breathing in and out through your nose, finding that slow, long breathing pattern. And then come down to hands and knees. We're going to do a couple things kneeling. So if you want to grab a blanket to put underneath your knee, you're going to kneel, and let's have you step we'll get some blocks too, step your right foot forward first. Your back toes can either be flat on the floor like this or curl your back toes under. If this way is okay for your toes and your ankle, try this way because this will give you some good mobility in your big toe. If this bothers your toes, or if you have a bunion in your foot and it hurts, then put your foot flat. Put the blocks on the right side of your hip so they're there and ready. Bring your hands to your hips to start. This knee is right underneath your hip. You're going to tuck your pelvis under like you have a tail. So you don't want your butt sticking out like this. You want to tuck under, lengthen your butt down towards your knee, and feel like your left butt is strong. You should feel like a stretch through the front of your left thigh and left hip when you do this. Pretend like you could pull your right heel back and your left knee forward. Reach both arms up. So getting a stretch through the hip flexor, the front of that left hip. Breathe. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. If you don't feel a stretch, you can bend your knee just a little bit. I don't want you bending too much because you want to keep this nice strong position in your left butt and your left core. Bring your right hand to the block. That's on the outside of the right hip, and then reach your left arm up and over like you can stretch towards the right side of your body. So you should get a stretch all through the front of this left belly, the front of the left hip. If putting your hand on these blocks is too much, you can just bring your hand to your hip and then stretch that way. You don't have to bring the hand down. Once the hand goes down, you'll get a little bit more stretch in the spine and it'll be a little bit more intense. And then come on back up, and then we'll switch sides. I'll face this way so you can see me a little bit better now. Curl your back toes under on the back foot or foot flat. This time I'll do my toes curled under so that you can see. Hands to your hips. Back knee right underneath your hip. Tuck your pelvis under so you're squeezing your right butt. You're getting a stretch through the front of the right hip. Reach both arms up. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Stay strong in your right glute. Stay strong in your core. If you need a little bit more stretch, you can bend your front knee a little bit more. Then you can bring your left hand to the blocks, reach up and over. So you're reaching towards your left. You'll feel a stretch through the front of the right belly, the front of the right thigh. Stretch up and over. Pretend like you can pull your left heel back towards the back of your mat and the right knee forward towards the front of the mat. That'll keep the muscles around the pelvis nice and strong as you stretch them. Good, and then come on back up. First side, I'll face this way for the first one. Right leg forward. This time your right heel is going to be down and your right toes and your right kneecap are going to be straight up to the sky. Put your hands on either side of your front leg with blocks. You might use multiple blocks if the back of that right leg is really tight, so you might be more upright like this. You're feeling a stretch through the back of the right leg in the hamstring area and the calf. Push your right heel down into the floor and feel like you could pull it back towards the back edge of your mat and feel like the left knee can pull forward to the front edge. Some of you might stay here, or you might lean more forward as long as you can maintain more of a flat spine as you fold forward. If you start rounding like a cat, then stay more upright. Because if you start rounding, then you're going to get more of the stretch in your back and not so much in your hamstring. So stay more upright. Those of you that can maintain that length in your spine, not overly rounding, you might come down a little bit lower. Your spine's going to round a little bit, but you don't look like a cat. You should have a nice even rounding. You shouldn't look like this. Spread your toes. Push that right heel down into the floor. Breathe into the back of that right leg. In and out through your nose. We're going to come into a twist now. So use your blocks. Bring that left block right underneath your left shoulder. Bring the right hand to your hip. What's going to happen is this right hip is going to want to lift up. Drive this right hip down to the floor. twist your chest towards the right, reach your right arm straight up to the sky. You might stay more upright like this. You might come down lower on your block. It just depends how open this whole right side is for you, of how deep you can go. So you should feel a stretch kind of at your right IT band, your right hamstring, your right glute, into that right side of the torso. As you twist open, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other and pull this right hip down towards the floor. In and out through your nose with your breath. And then release that side down. Switch sides. So your left leg's going to come forward. Same thing on the back foot. If it's okay on your back toes, curl them under. If it's too much, put the foot flat. I'll do it flat on this side because I did it curled under the first time. Left heel down into the floor. Pretend like you could pull your left heel back and your right knee forward. Look at this right knee. It's right underneath your right hip. You might come up higher on your blocks. Be more straight in your spine. Some of you might feel an intense stretch on the back of your hamstring and your calf with this. Some of you might come a little bit more forward. Again, as you come forward, let your spine round evenly. You don't want to be rounded like a cat. So it's a nice even rounding as you come forward. Breathe into the back of that left leg and feel the difference. Like this side's much tighter for me. So just appreciate the difference. Try to breathe into the tightness. If your foot's flat on the floor in the back, push it down into the floor. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. And then we'll take it into the twist. So you're going to come more upright. You can bring that right block right underneath your right hand. Open your chest towards the left. Again, the left hip's going to want to hike up. So you pull the outer left hip down to the floor as you twist towards the left. Reach your left arm straight up to the sky. You'll feel that stretch all along your IT band, your left hamstring, your left glute, even into your left low back. Some of you might come down lower. Keep breathing with it. In and out through your nose. Belly super strong. And then inhale to release. All right, come on up to stand. We're going to do a little glute activation, and then we'll take it into a pose. So you're going to have all your weight on your left foot. Step your right foot back behind you. Give a little bend in your left knee. Please don't lock it out. Little bend in the knee. The wall is right here, so if you need support, you have it. You're going to hinge forward at your hips. As you hinge forward, start to lift your right leg off the floor. You might stay right here, or you might start to kick your right leg straighter back. I really want you to feel the pressure on your left heel, like you're sitting into a chair on the left side to engage your left glute. Then you're going to bend your right knee in, and you're going to come more upright. We'll do this a few times. Hinge at your torso forward, belly strong. Then start to kick the foot back. Drive through your left heel. You want to try to feel your left butt activate. Bend your right knee in, bring your torso upright. Hinge at your hips. Then kick the right leg back. Try to feel that left glute, that left butt support you. Bend your right knee, come back up. Let's try the other side. So little bend in your right knee, step your left foot back behind you. Hinge at your hips as you lift your left foot off the floor. So your torso comes forward. You don't want to just flop it forward, so you have to keep it lifted. This will strengthen your back muscles. But I also want you to feel like you're sitting back into a chair on the right side to feel that right glute engage. Belly strong. Now start to kick your left leg back. Bring the left knee back in. Bring the torso upright. Again, the wall's there if you need it. Bring your torso forward. Kick your left heel back. Bend your left knee. Come upright. One more time. Hinge at your hips. Sit back like you're sitting into a chair on the right side. Now kick your left leg back. Bring your left knee in. Bring your torso upright. Now we'll take it into a yoga pose called Warrior 3. All the weight comes to your left foot. Step your right foot behind you. Keep a little bend in your left knee. Please don't lock it out. As you keep that bend, hinge forward. Sit your weight into your left heel. Belly muscles stay strong. Lift your right leg off the floor. Eventually, this right leg becomes parallel to the floor. Keep your hips square facing down to the floor. Don't open. Belly strong. You can choose to keep your hands at your hips, hands at the wall, arms behind you, arms in front of you, or arms even out to the sides. So choose what's going to challenge you. It's going to stretch your hamstring. It's going to activate your glute, work on balance, and work on your core. So lots happening just in one pose. Breathe. Try to really point the back toes down to the floor. And then inhale, come back up. We'll turn to the other side. Little bend in your right knee. Take your left leg straight back behind you. Hinge at your hips. Start to bring your weight forward. Again, it's only chest parallel to the floor, leg parallel to the floor. You're going in that direction. You might stay a little bit lifted like this. You don't have to go the whole way. You'll feel a stretch through your hamstring. Hopefully you'll feel some activation in that right glute. Push through your right heel. Then do whatever you want with the arms, either hands at the wall, hands at your hips, hands out to the sides, arms straight back, arms straight forward. So lots of options. Do what's going to challenge you, but also allows you to keep the pelvis straight towards the floor. Lets you feel that right glute activation, and so you can maintain your balance. Pull your belly in. Good. Inhale, come on back up. Side angle pose. So you're going to take a wide stance. Turn your right toes to face the front of your mat. Back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Your front heel, if you drew a line, it hits the middle of your back arch. Bend your back knee. Bring your right elbow to rest on your right thigh. Keep your core muscles engaged, so don't just collapse onto your right leg. Pull your belly in. Do a little tuck of your pelvis, especially on the right leg, like you're tucking under. Push into your back foot. Now reach your left arm alongside the ear. As you push into your left foot more, reach your left fingertips in the opposite direction. Pull the front of the right shoulder back as you open your chest up. Belly strong. Don't let your butt stick back behind you. So you're tucking your right pelvis underneath you to engage your right glute to keep your core strong. Your arm is right alongside your ear. And then inhale, come on up. Switch sides. So left toes face the back edge of your mat. Right foot parallel to the front edge. Bend your front knee. Bring your left elbow to your left thigh. Make sure your butt's not sticking out. So tuck your pelvis under to feel that left glute engaged. Drive through your left heel. Squeeze your right glute. So you should feel strong in the muscles around your pelvis, but you're stretching that front. So you'll feel a stretch through the front of the right hip. As you sweep the right arm alongside the ear, you'll get the whole right side of the torso. Belly strong, tuck your pelvis under. As you push into your right foot, reach your right fingertips in the opposite direction. Good strong core, breathe in and out through your nose. Slow, long breaths. And then inhale, come on back up. Triangle pose is the same leg position. So let's get some blocks. And you can also get a little bit closer to the wall. Right toes face the wall. Left foot parallel to the back edge of your mat. Keep your legs straight for this one. Your right knee and your right toes point straight towards the wall. You can bring your right hand to the wall to start. You'll feel a stretch through the back of that right leg, through your inner right thigh muscle. Look down at the floor. Make sure your right knee isn't turning in. You want to make sure that right knee points straight ahead. Push your right big toe into the floor. Squeeze your right quad muscle to feel that stretch. Open your chest up. Reach your left arm straight up to the sky. You might stay here. You might bring your hand to the block that's down on the floor on the outside of your right leg. Eventually, you can look up towards the sky. If that's too much on your neck, look down towards the floor. Really push your right big toe into the floor as you squeeze your right quad muscle. And then inhale to come back up. Other side, so take your blocks to the other side. Left toes face the back edge of your mat. Right foot parallel. Remember, if you drew a line, the front heel would hit the middle of your back arch. Start to lean over to your left. Your legs are straight. You're pushing through your left big toe, and your left quad muscle is strong. You can bring your hand to a wall. So imagine there was a wall in front of me, or you can bring your hand to this layer of blocks. Reach your right arm straight up to the sky. Same thing, feel like you could tuck your pelvis under, especially your left side. You'll feel your belly lift up when you do that. You can look up or look down. And as you breathe and you hold the pose, you might say, okay, I don't need so many blocks. And then you come down and you hold for a few more breaths in a little bit more range of motion and a deeper stretch. Either looking down at the floor or looking up at the sky. Pull your belly muscles in. Tuck your left pelvis under. Squeeze your left glute. Squeeze your right glute for that matter too. Both sides turned on. So come up, you can bring your hand to your hip, bend your left knee, and then come on back up. Let's have you face the wall. You can put blocks close by in case you need them. Right foot forward, left foot back. Think like your feet are in 2 lanes of the highway. Right foot's in one lane, left foot's in the other lane. Bring your hands to the wall. You want a flat back, and you'll start to walk your hands down the wall. You might get to about here. You'll feel a stretch through the back of probably the right leg and maybe the left ankle and left calf. You can walk down a little bit further, or you can come onto blocks. Just as long as you don't, again, look like that rounded cat shape, you want to be more even in the rounding of your spine if you're coming forward and bringing your hands towards blocks or towards the floor. Those of you that come down this far, try to let your head relax towards the floor. Push evenly through the right and the left foot. Please don't shift your weight into one of them more than the other. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Squeeze your left glute. Pull your right heel and your right hip back towards the back edge of your mat to keep the front of the pelvis squared forward. To come up, you can walk your hands up the wall and then switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back, 2 lanes of the highway. Start to walk your hands down the wall. Spread your toes. Squeeze your quad muscles so this front thigh is nice and strong, and you'll see your kneecaps lift up towards your pelvis. You can stay here. You can bring your hands to the blocks, or you might need to come up higher on this side. Again, try to avoid rounding in your upper back. Feel like you're pulling the front of your right pelvis forward towards the front of your mat and the front of the left pelvis back so that your hips are nice and square. So if you let something rest on your low back, it wouldn't fall over. It would just settle right there. If you're rounding forward, you can let the top of the head lengthen towards the floor. Again, belly's strong, thigh muscles are strong. Breath's nice and slow and steady. And then you can walk your hands back up the wall. Let's do one more balance one. So you're going to do tree pose. You can use the wall if you need to. Little bend in your left knee. You're going to bring your right foot up. You can either come to a kickstand so that right foot's still on the floor, or it's on your calf, or it's all the way up on your inner thigh. You want to make sure that you're not dropping your left hip out to the side. So you want to squeeze your left glute to help keep your pelvis nice and stable. So you should feel a straight line here. It shouldn't be dropped to one side. So squeeze your left glute. Your pelvis points straight ahead. Eventually the knee can open, but if the knee opens and then your whole body twists, I'd rather see your pelvis straight forward and your knee can be a little bit forward. Keep a little bend in that left knee. You can hold onto a wall. You can reach your arms up overhead. You can keep your hands at your hips. And then let's try the other side. So right foot down. Keep a little bend in your right knee. I'll go a little lower on this side. So you can put your foot, make sure it's above or below your knee. Don't push into your knee. So for this side, I'll do below my knee. Again, don't let your right butt bump out to the side. You have to squeeze your right glute. See how when I squeeze my glute, my pelvis stays nice and stable. Squeeze that right butt. That's going to stabilize you. When you run, you're on one foot. So you got to learn how to use that glute to stabilize your pelvis so it doesn't drop. Squeeze that right glute. Pelvis stays straight and level, and then you can do whatever you want with the arms. Hands at the wall, hands at your heart. You can reach your arms up overhead. Breathe in and out through your nose. Relax your shoulders. Keep squeezing that right side as you stabilize on one leg. Good, relax that side. Let's have you come to lay all the way in your stomach. You're gonna lay all the way flat with your arms by your sides, palms face down to the floor. Look down at the floor. Pull your belly muscles in nice and strong, almost like your belly's lifting up away from the floor and you're squeezing your butt muscles. Once you lift up, you're gonna lose that. So you have to really try to keep your core strong. Lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor. Lift your arms up away from the floor, legs up away from the floor. Keep looking down, but feel your arms and your shoulders lift up away from the floor. If you lift up too high, you'll start to feel a crunching in your low back. So don't lift up that high. Pull your belly in. Just lift up as high as you can feel the backs of your legs and your upper back muscles working to lift you. Squeeze your core, squeeze your belly, squeeze your butt. Feel like your hands and your toes reach behind you, but the top of the head reaches forward. And then come back down. Place your hands on either side of your chest. Spread your fingers and take your hands or fingertips slightly turned to the sides away from your mat. Let your elbows be a little bit wide. If you come in too close, it's going to be very challenging to do this pose. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor. Elbows are a little bit wide apart. Draw your shoulders down your back, so away from your ears. Pull your belly muscles in and tuck your imaginary tail under. That'll tone your core and your butt muscles. Then start to lift your chest off the floor for a cobra pose. Keep drawing your shoulders down. Keep pulling your chest forward, squeezing your butt muscles. You can stay here or start to lift up a little bit taller, just as long as you can keep your shoulders back. If you start to go forward, come down, shoulders back, lift up. You shouldn't feel any pain in your low back. Press the tops of your feet down, squeeze your butt. Gaze is straight ahead. And relax. Roll onto your back. Bend your knees. If you have a block, you can put a block between your inner thighs. If you don't have it, you don't need it. Your feet line right up underneath your knees. If you go in too close, it'll be too much of a bend in your knee. So bring your feet right underneath your knee. Squeeze your block, or if you don't have one, just imagine you're squeezing an imaginary block. Bend your elbows so that your fingertips point up to the sky and your palms face each other. Squeeze your core, squeeze your butt, lift your hips up off the floor. You can lift up a little bit higher than the first one we did today. You can lift up a little bit higher by pushing your elbows down. Press the back of your head down slightly into the floor. Squeeze your butt and lift up. So you're getting mobility through your back. You're getting mobility through the front of your hips. If this hurts your low back, please don't lift up so high and just focus on squeezing your butt muscles and stay right about here. If you're pain-free in your back, you can lift up a little bit higher to get a little bit more of that mobility, as long as you're pushing through your heels, keeping your butt strong and your core muscles are strong. If you lose either, please don't lift up so high. It's more important to stay activated in the right muscles than get more mobility. So stability is more important. And then slowly lower back down. You can take your block off to the side. Let's have you cross your left ankle over your right thigh. If you have a strap, you might want it. So cross left ankle over left thigh, or right thigh. Flex your left foot a lot. You might stay here, and this is enough. You'll feel a stretch through your right butt muscle area. If you want more stretch, you can pull the back of your right leg to lift your legs towards you. Now you want to try to keep your back on the floor. If you lift up so much and your butt comes up, you're pulling too much, or maybe your arms are a little too short to hold your legs. So a strap can be helpful so that you can just hold here and relax your shoulders down and don't lift up so much that your butt comes off. So you're just holding to about here. Gently push your left ankle down into your right thigh and feel like you can push your left knee away from you. You're using your butt muscles to do that, but at the same time you're stretching them by pulling your legs towards you. So you should feel a deep sensation out here. Big stretch. Relax your shoulders. Try to unhinge your teeth so you're not clenching them together. and relax that side. Switch sides. So you're going to cross your right ankle. Again, you might stay right here. Flex this right foot like you're pulling your toes up towards your right knee. Gently push your right ankle into your right thigh and feel like your right knee moves away from your chest. You can stay right here. You can hold behind your left thigh. Keep flexing with this foot. Keep pushing this foot down into your left thigh as you pull your legs towards you. Again, you could use the strap if it's a little bit more comfortable to keep your shoulders relaxed down into the floor. Again, gently push that knee away from you as you pull your left thigh towards you. Feeling a stretch through this outer right hip area. And then slowly relax that side. So relaxation is the last part of this. So if you have blocks and a blanket, or if you have a pillow of some sort, you can roll it up, let it rest underneath your knees. So I just kind of made this blanket roll and put blocks, stacked them underneath each other, and then let my undersides of my knees rest. Let your arms rest by your side. Let your eyes close and just relax. So we'll spend about 2 to 3 minutes of just quiet recovery for the body. You can go back to that breathing where you allow your belly to expand on the inhale and then your belly to fall on the exhale. Rising and falling. If you feel any tension or clenching of any of the muscle groups in your body, just try to let go. Let them relax. Let all of your effort release right now. And just rest. It's so important to allow our bodies and our minds to recover and relax and rest. So mindfulness meditation is a great way to allow yourself to heal. Allow your stress levels to lower. Allow your breath to get a little bit longer and easier. And slowly take a few deeper breaths. You can start to make little movements with your body, your fingers and toes, your wrists and ankles. You can turn your head side to side. Stretch however feels good for you. And then eventually you'll bend your knees, roll onto your side. Use your hands to press yourself back up to a seated position. Thanks so much for joining.